Jack Flaherty heading to the Tigers. Breaking from Jeff Passan. Right-hander Jack Flaherty and the Detroit Tigers are in agreement on a 2-year, $35 million contract that includes an opt-out after the first season, sources tell ESPN. I mean, listen, we've been talking about Jack Flaherty for what feels like forever now. And, this guy's just been lingering on the market. And when you take a look back at Jack Flaherty's injury history, I feel like that came into play a little bit here. When it came to, how strong his market actually was. You'd seen possibilities come up. The Padres recently, that was an idea that was being floated around. If they cleared some payroll, maybe trade away Dylan Cease, Michael King, get some young players back for them, and then that could clear up some money to go sign someone like Flaherty. So I thought, okay, maybe that could work. Probably a little too good to be true. But you think about like the Angels, he's a SoCal guy. Could that have made some sense for them? You didn't really hear anything, mainly, anything concrete when it came to the Angels. And then, the Giants were a possibility. The Orioles were a possibility. I guess they were talking at one point. But when that news came out with Jack Flaherty and the Orioles, I was thinking, well, he was just there a couple of years ago, and he didn't do all that great there. So, I don't know. It didn't really feel like anything substantial or anything that could, be something realistic that could happen. And it just felt weird. But the one team that you did hear about that weren't really, being talked about all that much, but you heard a little something, a little while ago, were the Tigers, because they have that familiarity with them. And I thought to myself for a while, once his market was not developing there, I thought, okay, well, he had success there and he did very well with their pitching department, with the pitching coach, with what they do in their pitching lab. It was working. And, when the Tigers, they were falling out of it and, weren't looking all that great around the trade deadline. Yeah, it made a lot of sense to move him. And obviously the Dodgers were looking for a guy and they brought him in. It made a lot of sense. But then all of a sudden the Tigers just went on this run in the second half. They kind of tinkered with the lineup a little bit, benched some guys, started giving some other guys some playing time. They ran with just this chaos pitching staff and it just worked. Things were clicking and they got hot down the stretch. But to me, the Jack Flaherty was never a negative with the Tigers, right? Unfortunately, the team just didn't perform and they moved him. I think this makes all the sense in the world. Like, I liked the idea of maybe the Padres, maybe, making some moves, bringing in young talent, and then, getting a little bit of money to maybe bring him in, and obviously, Southern California guy. So I thought, okay, maybe the Padres could be good. But I don't know. To me, there was just a lot of moving parts there. And Flaherty, he's been on, going on foul territory as of late. He's been on social media. He seems like a dude that's been pretty frustrated with the process, right? And I'm really glad the Tigers, they stepped up and they got a deal done, right? 2-year, $35 million contract, has an opt-out. I think that's the big key here is the opt-out. I think the fact that it's going to be a prove-it deal. I think that's the one sticking point that he had this offseason was the injury history. Sure, he pitched well this past year, but I think teams want to see more of that consistency. I think they want to see, okay, can you do this? Can you stay healthy over a longer period of time? We don't want to give you big bucks. And then, because we don't even know what's going to happen when it comes to, his health. So, he had the back issues also this past year. I think that also came into play. That was the one reason the Yankees pulled out of that trade at the deadline, because they were a little irked by the back issues. So to me, I think the opt-out is the key here, right? It's a prove-it deal, basically. If he pitches well, then he can go back out next offseason, and then he ends up getting himself a pretty solid deal like Blake Snell. All right, I think that was also what held back Snell last offseason, right? High walk rate combined with a kind of up and down with the injury record. And I think that's where, teams maybe got a little hesitant with him. But then he went out there, obviously got off to a bad start. He signed late in spring, but then he was great in the second half. And then he got himself a big deal with the Dodgers. So I think you could see a similar thing here. He just needs to prove he's healthy. And why not go back to the Tigers? Now, I actually just came out with a video a little earlier. I hadn't heard anything about the Tigers, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go, the video that I came out with, one more free agent for each team. I just said Jose Quintana for the Tigers because it's like, all right, well, I feel like they need another starting pitcher. So why not go get a guy at least for some depth, right? I would have loved Flaherty, but you just weren't really hearing anything out there. So I love this even more. I think it's way better. Now, taking a look at the rotation, I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, you're basically looking at the rotation from last year. Skubal, Flaherty. Now Reese Olson has another year under his belt. Alex Cobb, they brought in, a veteran guy for the back end of the rotation. Casey Mize finally looked healthy this past year, took a bit of a step forward. But they got some good stability in this rotation now. And I love it. I think it's great. Why fix what's not broke? It made all the sense in the world to bring him back. But you were just wondering, what are, the Tigers, what were they doing with Bregman? What's the money looking like there? Did they want to spend the money on Flaherty? It was kind of, you just weren't really sure what was going on there. Now that the Tigers rotation is pretty much set, now I take a look at the lineup. Take a look at this lineup now. Well, you brought in Gleyber Torres. Okay. All right, fine. But third base. What are you doing at third? Is Jace Young still your guy? Or are you still going after Bregman? Supposedly, according to Bob Nightingale this past weekend, it's down to the Tigers and the Red Sox, I guess. I guess they're the co-favorites, according to Bob Nightingale. I think that's more of a leverage kind of a play. But does this take them out? It's not that much money for Flaherty. I'm saying that like it's, like 17 million to 17.5 million is pocket change. But, when you're looking at it on the level of what these guys are making, 17.5 million, it's reasonable. I think that's actually a pretty good deal, right? Actually, sorry. He is going to be making, okay, I take that back. He's going to be making 25 million. Okay, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun there. Wow. Okay, then. Well, he is definitely going to go back out into the market next year because he's got a $10 million player option. The only way he's exercising that is if, his arm blows out. I mean, there's no way he's going to exercise that if he has a good year. So, okay, I apologize. I did not take a look at this. 25 million this coming year. Well, okay. Well, that makes this a little more interesting for Alex Bregman. Well, what do you do now? Are you still going to be ponying up the money for him? I mean, obviously, they still have a lot of flexibility with their payroll. Right now, their estimated luxury tax payroll is $156. But what are the Tigers comfortable with? Are they comfortable with spending close to $30 million per year on Bregman now? I don't know. Well, actually, taking a look, they are going to be paying him $25 million. So I'll actually revert back to what I was just saying a second ago. They're paying him $25 million, but the luxury tax hit is $17.5 million. So on Cal, it goes up to $20 million if he starts 15 games. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Duh. It says it right here. Sorry. I'm going live to react to this, so give me a little bit of grace. Okay, so if he makes 15 starts, he gets $20 million. So then, but as of right now, the AAV is 17.5. That's going to be the hit on the luxury tax. So I still think Bregman's possible, but we heard that report a little while ago where there seems to be a bit of a gap when it comes to what they think the value of him is. It's a tough ballpark for him. Maybe that's coming into play with what they think his value is because they think, okay, well, you're a bat at our ballpark. This is kind of what we're projecting for you in terms of numbers. And that's probably what they're basing their offer on. But then he's probably thinking, well, do I want to go to a ballpark? Do I want to, if they're not offering what he wants, like, why would he go there? When it's not a hitter friendly park for him. Right. So I think this is interesting, right? Again, it's a $17.5 million luxury tax hit, but I don't know. I wonder if this signals that they're out on him. I probably would lean more towards no, because it's not a ton of money towards the luxury tax. I think that there's still a possibility Bregman could be in play. But again, the way they're operating. Now, if this was, say, the Dodgers or the Yankees or, you know, whatever, Skip Gadbury moving the fences left when he comes to bat. I think they made some kind of a move with did they move in the left field fence a little? I'm not sure. But if it was the Dodgers or the Yankees, I mean, yeah, this is not a big deal. But this is the Tigers, right? The way they're operating with their front office, they're being a little bit more cautious, right? The Dodgers are just going out there and giving contracts out like candy. All right, the Yankees, giving out contracts like candy this offseason after losing Soto. So again, what are the Tigers going to do here? I would lean more towards it probably means that they're still in on him, but I think you could also say, I think it could be fair to say that does this take out them being more aggressive on him? They could still be in play for the offer that, for the terms that they want, but are they willing to go the extra mile now for Bregman? That is what I wonder about here. It's interesting. Let's say the Tigers are out of it. Well, we're not hearing great things about the Astros in the last couple of days. You were here. It looked like maybe there could be some momentum building where, you had the Fan Fest. People are saying bring back Bregman. Joe Espada saying he would love to have him back. Jose Altuve saying he'd love to have him back. And, I'll move out to left field if that means we can bring Bregman back. But then you got Dana Brown saying the door is cracked open. It's a long shot. And, you're just, you saw the Nightingale tweet from the other day saying, looks like nothing's really going on with the Astros right now. It looks like the co-favorites are the Tigers and the Red Sox. Well, let's say that is a lot of truth. Let's say the Nightingale report is very accurate. Let's say the Astros, let's actually go back to the Nightingale report. Bob Nightingale, what do you got for me? Where is that tweet? Let me go back just a little bit here. Here we go. While it seems almost inevitable that Pete Alonso returns to the Mets, the Tigers and the Red Sox loom as co-favorites for Alex Bregman with no movement in the Astros talks. So I don't know, man. What is going on here in Houston? If there's no movement, if nothing's happening, if the Astros are not budging, then is the possibility of a short-term deal very much in play with another team? Could that be the Tigers? Or could that be the Red Sox? Or could that be the Cubs? I mean, listen, again, we're only basing it off of if the Nightingale report is accurate. You never know with Bob, right? But if it was down to the Tigers and the Red Sox and, a short-term deal is going to be the best thing, just like we saw with Jack Flaherty right now, 3-year deal with an opt-out. If I'm Alex Bregman and I'm picking where I want to play to take advantage of that 1 year and then go back out to the market next year, I'm going to Fenway Park. And that's not even me being biased. I'm just looking at what is going to be the best park for him. Where does he feel like he would have the best shot to have a great year and then go test free agency again? Fenway Park is going to be the best one for him. Now, could he also take a short-term deal with the Astros? If they got a 6-year offer on the table, I mean, I'm not sure what they think. Would they do a short-term offer where they can give him a high AAV for this year? I don't know what's up with that possibility. But if the Astros are not interested in a short-term deal and they just want to get something for 6 years, I would imagine they would be open to a short-term deal. I don't know what the dynamics of that is, but if the Astros don't want to do a short deal and it's down to the Red Sox, Tigers, and the Cubs, I mean, to me, Fenway Park is the best spot for him. If you want to juice up your numbers as much as possible, I mean, I'm going to Fenway, right? Because he's hit very well there in his career. Obviously, the monster would be amazing for him. He would be a doubles machine, 25 home runs. You know? It gives Christian Campbell a bit more of a softer landing to come up to the majors when he's ready. You know, or, I mean, whatever. If he's ready now, then you can kind of work him in as you go. Or, you know, Marcelo Meyer, you know, whatever happens with, you know, Trevor Story, or I don't know. You know, it kind of gives those infielders in the Red Sox system a bit more of a soft landing spot. We'll see here. You know, again, I think probably the Tigers are still going to be in play for Bregman. I don't think, you know, it's not like they're, you know, they still got a lot of flexibility here. But again, it really just comes down to what is it that they want to do with their payroll. You know, I think they're still in it. That's just my guess. I'm wrong a lot, but that it is what it is. Everyone, we got almost 400 people in this chat. 400 people in this chat, and we only have 38 likes. What are we doing here? Oh my goodness. Come on, everybody. What are we doing? But everyone, I am going to wrap it up right there. I just wanted to come on and just react to this, give a short stream, nothing crazy, but overall, I like this move. I think it's solid. Why fix what's not broke? That's the storyline that I'm taking from this. It's good for both sides. Flaherty feels comfortable there. The Tigers, they get a deal where they feel like they're not being hamstrung. You know, I think it's good for both sides. I think it's a good deal. Good move for the Detroit Tigers. It's going to be interesting with Bregman. What does this mean for them in the Bregman sweepstakes? I'm not sure. But everyone, I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you count on the way out for me, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 50K by opening day. Help us out. We're trying to get there. Go follow me over on Monster Territory. I am now with the Foul Territory Network, and we're talking Red Sox over there. I was actually just doing a show not too long ago. I actually kind of wrapped it up pretty quick over there, and that way I could come over here and do my thing. But everyone, go have yourself a good rest of your night. If anything else happens, I'll come on and go live and react to whatever other news hops on here. So, everyone, have yourself a good night. I'll talk to you next time.